is Hebrew Hits, presented by jtriberadio.com. I'm your host, Malya, and I sit down with people who live by the motto, it's what you do with what you have that makes a difference. Welcome to the show. You're listening to Hebrew Hits. Today I'm sitting down with Avi Beer, who is in school for accounting as well as produces his own music. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be on this new and exciting podcast of yours.
Yes, of course. Welcome to the show. Well, how did you get into creating your own music? How did that all start?
So I started off singing as a little kid, putting on shows for family and friends. And I always loved Jewish music and wanted to go into the field. And around 6th, 7th grade, I joined the Yeshiva Voice Choir, and I was on the album Shemar Shemala. Then after 2 years, I decided to go on my own, start writing my own music. And throughout high school, I just worked on music and focused on my high school experience. And then when I went to Israel in my first year, I composed my first song called Barfi Nafshi. That song, I just sat on it for a year. I didn't really have the opportunity to go record the song. And then in my second year, I don't know if you remember, there was a terrible tragedy in Israel. A couple of kids were coming back from doing chesed, helping with soldiers, and one of them was Ezra Schwartz. They were all brutally killed, and that tragedy and the death of Ezra Schwartz really hit home and inspired me to come out with Barfi Nafshi in honor of him and to make a tribute video. After that year, I recorded 2 additional songs in the studio I worked with in Israel. Since then, I've been writing and composing music with hopes to one day produce them all. Baruch Hashem, I just released my 5th song and music video.
That's amazing. Did you know Ezra Schwartz personally?
I knew him. I didn't know him personally, but I knew of him.
But when his story happened, you said, I need to release this song now. Yeah,
I think that not just me, I think that even if you were, whether you were an American or Israeli, I think at that time, I think people were just shook up in Israel and throughout the world. Music is the way through which I channel my emotions. I thought it was the right time to come out with a song for him.
So who and what inspires you to make music?
So in terms of who inspires me, my inspiration is definitely, there's a Rebbe in Waterbury, Baruch Levine. His music, I love his voice and his pure sound, and his songs are timeless. Vizakini, all of the songs are really beautiful. Also, obviously, there's Yaakov Shweki. He really inspires me. He revolutionized the Jewish music industry. In terms of what specifically inspired me, I always say that my goal at the end of the day of making the music is to inspire the listener, to have an effect on people. I always tell my friends, one of the ways I measure success of a song or a music video, obviously views and downloads are important, but also, the question at the end of the day, I tell myself is, did this song have an effect on at least one person? And Baruch Hashem, I've gotten many beautiful messages from people. I remember when I released one of my songs, someone messaged me that they were in the hospital and they listened to my music, and that helped them get through their stay in the hospital. And stories like that inspire me and motivate me to keep on coming out and releasing music. That's
probably the most amazing feeling, just knowing that you help somebody who's in the hospital or somebody who's having a hard day or going through something. Through your music, it helped them.
Yeah, I recently released a song called Anyone about how some of the words of the song are never feel alone, never feel down. And someone told me the next day after I released it that they were feeling depressed that day. And when they heard my song, that lifted up their spirit. Stories like that, that's the reason why I'm doing the song. Yes, the songs have to be successful and cost money. And but at the end of the day, it's also, I'm trying to inspire people, and that's all that really matters.
It's so hard to be a musician because there are so many musicians out there. You know what I'm saying? So many people are coming out with music. But the fact that you do it because you love it and because you want to inspire others, that's the right reason for why you're doing music. It's not because you want anything or fame as other musicians do. You're doing it because you actually, honestly, deeply want to inspire people. And that's really, really inspiring just from that. So what is your creative process like?
Honestly, it's kind of random. I don't know if that was the answer you were looking for. Sometimes I can think of the song in the shower, let's say, like people sing in the shower, or I'm walking the street or in the base medrash, or I'm in class, and just the song comes to me, and I immediately run outside and I record it on my phone, like a rough draft of the song. After I spend time putting down a draft, I call up my producer. I have a producer now a couple blocks away from me. The fun fact about me is I actually don't play an instrument. So it's a little bit harder for me to, versus other artists, to come up with a song and then to put down the chords for the song. So for the first session, I have to sing over the song a couple of times to the producer, and he will actually play on his guitar, put the chords down.
Mm-hmm.
And once we have a basic framework of the song, then we put in the instrumentals, violins, guitars, right, arrange the song, add the vocals in. If we don't like the vocals, have to redo the vocals. It's a process. It's definitely a process. And at the end of the day, when you listen back to the song, right, during the process, it's very hard and stressful. But when I'm able to sit back at the end and listen to it and hear the magic, that's what makes me very excited. I'm also known for, I usually release my songs before music videos, like a couple months before. I think that's worked for me in terms of marketing, and like when I first released the song, it gained some attraction, and then a couple months later, it gains even more attraction when the music video comes out.
Very smart. You said before that you don't play any instruments. Now that's very interesting. So you create the tunes and you create the lyrics. Is that what you do? The tune and the lyrics?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes first I think of the lyrics. Sometimes I first think of the tune.
So interesting. Do you want to play an instrument eventually?
I do. I always say every day I'm going to learn how to play guitar or piano. And my producer screams at me, I have to learn. I just have it. Besides we didn't mention this yet, but besides for me being in school, doing music, I'm also in school full time, studying accounting. So that takes up most of my time also.
I don't know how you do anything. I don't know how you could do anything else when you're in accounting. Like when you're going to get your CPA, I don't know how you have time for anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hard balance. And so I would love to play an instrument, but I just haven't found the time yet. But whenever I'm not studying for school or in class or learning, I am working on music. Whether I go to sleep at 3 a.m, I'm working on music, trying to come up with the next thing, please, having a success and inspiring people.
Yeah. So is there any musician that you would most like to collaborate with?
I feel like the up and coming artists such as myself are the future of Jewish music, right? In any field, the younger people will one day take over the industry. Mm-hmm. So I recently collabed with, on my song Anyone, with Ellie Dax and Waterbury. And I would love to do a song with the Waterbury crew, write their famous songs, Tati My King, or many countless songs they've come out with. And then I also have a very good friend in the industry, Dover Perlman. He's coming out with an album soon. And many artists such as him, and we are the future of Jewish music. And I would love to collaborate with as many people as possible. If anyone wants to collaborate, they can shoot me a DM, Instagram, social media. They can find me, send me an email. Is
there anyone alive or dead that you would like to have heard your music? If you could choose anybody in the world who could listen to your song, who would it be?
Live or dead? That's an interesting question. I mean, alive, as I said before, one of my role models is Baruch Levine. I think funny story, I think my Rebbe actually sent my latest song to Baruch Levine, and he listened to it. I think he said it was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm saying whenever I go to events or simchas, I always try to take a picture with the singer that's singing at the wedding, or I have many pictures with some of the top singers today. I would love for all of them to hear my music. It's just however they can listen to it.
So not one in specific besides for Baruch Levine, really?
I don't really have one specific person. I love all Jewish music, from Kumzit style, Eitan Katz, to, I don't know, Zusha, to any of this type of music. So yeah, anyone really.
How would you describe the music that you typically create?
I would describe it as soulful, heartfelt music. It's most of my songs are very nice and slow music. I have one song that's more of an upbeat song. And my music, at the end of the day, as I said before, my music is really looking to strike a chord within people and to inspire them and recognize that there's a God in the world, and he controls everything that's going on, and we should appreciate everything that he does for us. And the funny thing is, maybe not so funny, but my music not only inspires Jews, but I've also gotten non-Jews reach out to me and say to me how much they love my music. Because I think at the end of the day, whether you understand words of a song or not, music is a universal language, and right, it has an effect with people that words alone can't do. And I think just the music itself, whether you're a Jew or non-Jew, no matter who you are, can affect you. And yeah, I'm saying I came out with, I don't only want to do Jewish music. I also covered like a year ago or 2 years ago, the famous song "A Million Dreams." You can find that on YouTube if you want.
Oh, nice. That's a great song.
Yeah. So I'm saying songs like that, I'm looking to cover those type of songs too. Obviously the audience I'm shooting for is, I'm in the Jewish music industry, but all people, all humans, I think music can have an effect on them, no matter what type of music it is.
When it's sung from the heart, you feel it.
Yeah.
You know, I worked as an intern this past summer, a year ago, and she was a non-Jewish, regular, Catholic lady, and she put on a Catholic song for me. I said, listen, if you're going to put on a Catholic song for me, I'm going to put on a Jewish song for you. And she said, okay, fine, deal. So she makes me listen to this Catholic song. I'm like, okay, fine, nice. I put on a Jewish song. She went crazy. She was like, she was crying. She goes, I've never felt so inspired by music. She started sharing the song with everybody, like all of her friends and chats. And she goes, I feel the song, I feel the music. And that's something that's different about Jewish music. I feel Jewish music, you feel when someone's singing, you could feel it. You could feel the emotion.
Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, non-Jewish music as well. There's definitely, every type of music has an emotional factor. But there's something special about Jewish music that you really feel that emotion when it's being sung. Especially, I especially like slow songs. That's my personal favorite, versus a fast song. So yeah, it really touches my heart.
So what have you learned now that you haven't learned when you first started out?
Good question. I have learned many things since I have first started out. Definitely something that should be mentioned is how hard the industry is and how hard it is to break into the industry. Right? The Jewish music industry is very small and it's extremely competitive to gain that small amount of space. And you have to be like top of your game in order to make it to the top. But that being said, I think there is a place for up and coming artists such as myself in Jewish music or in any music industry. But a person just really has to find his niche and area of expertise in the field. I'm still working on finding my path, and it's a tough process. But it's something, if you're willing to put in the effort, then I would say go for it. But you just have to realize how hard it's going to be. I'm saying going into it, everyone keeps on saying, yeah, music is so hard, it's so competitive. You really learn it when you start releasing songs and trying to get people to download the song and buy the song and hire you for an event. Second piece of something I've learned that I didn't know in the beginning was definitely the quality of my music has increased from my first song to my latest song, and the music videos as well. Right when I first went into the studio in 2016, I had no idea what the studio was or how to put down what instrumentals go with what. Right? I don't even know how to play an instrument, so it's much harder for me. But as you go from one song to the next, then I've learned where does this go, where does that go, how to arrange a song. I improved my vocals. I worked on it, right? Where to put violins, guitars. And yes, if anyone listens to my latest song versus my first song, I think they would see the comparison. Those are basically the two main things I would say that I've learned since the beginning. Do
you have a vocal coach?
Currently, I do not have a vocal coach, but every single day I am working on my vocals. I did go for vocal training for the last 2 years. but
Okay.
the virus has shifted things around.
So you know what to do with your voice because you took training.
I can. It's like graduating from school. You can now take the tools and go on your own.
Yeah.
But the last 6 months of this has definitely been harder than months before that.
Right.
Yeah, every day throughout the day you can hear me doing these random vocal. You'll think I'm like, what's going on with this kid?
You want to show off some?
No, I'm fine.
Well, talking about the industry, is there anything that you would change in the industry if you were able to?
One of the keys to success in any industry is networking, right? And forming those relationships that are crucial for you to have, right? As the saying goes, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think Jewish music, there's definitely networking opportunities, but there's not really any formal networking events or conferences in Jewish music that's not heard of. So I think it would be something really, I don't know if someone has the time to put it together, but I think it could be something really amazing if singers and songwriters and arrangers can come together and network and meet each other and brainstorm ideas and collaborate with each other, even if it's just one event a year. I think it could be really something special. Another great idea that's been bothering one of my close friends lately, who keeps on telling me that someone needs to come out with this, is a Spotify for Jewish music, right? Right. There are many apps, and some people have tried to come out with similar things. There's not really any app right now in the market that allows you to download a vast array of Jewish music and listen to it on whatever you want. Right, there are podcasts, Hebrew hits, and this and other amazing stuff. But there's not a Spotify for Jewish music. It's someone solely looking for Jewish music, and I think that could be something amazing for like a frum person that doesn't want to listen to other types of music. They want to focus on Jewish music. I think that the world has been shifting digitally, and it continues to shift that way. Mm-hmm. And I think the Jewish music industry needs to step up its game and come out with these apps and websites and podcasts and various platforms.
I think those are two great ideas. And why don't you start that? Why don't you start the get together? You have the idea, call some people up, get the networking going. You'd be in charge, would be your event. I'd help you out. I would actually help you out with it because I do party planning.
Yeah, so I reached out to someone a year ago. I came up with the idea of the networking. I reached out to someone, and he said that some singers do have a small get together, like during Sphira, like when no one's working, in the Jewish music industry. So it's not so big. I feel like that's more like exclusive, and no one really knows about it. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that's on my mind, and definitely something I want to work on.
And then that app, if you could get people together to make the app, that'd also be so cool. These are your ideas. If you push them through, that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm saying if anyone's listening to this that knows how to computer code a app, reach out to us and let us know.
Yeah, for sure. What is the best advice that you have been given?
The best advice I have been given is, I mean, in terms of Jewish music specifically, I've gotten some good advice over the years. But a couple of months ago, I saw on Instagram actually a quote that says, failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of it. And right, that quote's so simple, yet so powerful. Mm-hmm. And I think that it applies not only to the Jewish music industry, but any industry or situation a person finds himself in, that he has to realize that these failures and setbacks, everyone's going to have bad days and everyone has failures. How many times did I throw out drafts of songs because it just did not feel right? Or I've gotten gigs and chuppahs and events canceled on me mere days before the event. But instead of focusing on the setbacks, I choose to focus on learning from those events and situations and using them to propel forward. And I think that's something very powerful. And if one thing someone listening to this podcast can hear me say is, any industry or any situation you're going to find yourself in, you're going to experience failures. I can give you a whole list of failures I've gone through, but that success ultimately comes from experiencing those failures. It's like stepping stones leading you to the ultimate success.
I love that. I'm so inspired right now. I'm just like, whoa, I'm actually so inspired. So before we go, let me ask you, what's next for you?
We always have music in the works. I'm working on a song right now. I'm also working on a remix of remixing one of my previous songs. I'm in talks with a couple of organizations to try to create songs for them. I think that's the shift I'm trying to go into right now. By my latest song, Anyone, was sponsored by some organizations. Yeah, if you want to hear more of my music or my music videos, you can find my stuff on YouTube, my website, avibeer.com. The music's available wherever you listen to music. I'm also available for bookings for not only do I create music, but I also sing at various events, and you can also contact me through those channels too. Yeah, I'm very excited for the stuff we're working on. Can't wait to share with everyone.
Well, thank you so much for being here with me today on Hebrew Hits. That was Avi Beer. All of the links are going to be in the description below. Make sure to click on them. Go check out his website. Go check out his YouTube videos. And click follow on his Instagram at Avi Beer. Thank you so much again for being here. See you next week, everybody.